Hey, what's going on? Luke here. For today's video, we're going to be talking about Benji Marshall and the rumours that he's going to be signing with Sydney Roosters. Now, probably about a month ago, I did a video talking about whether he'd be a good signing for Hull in the Super League. Now, I was pretty adamant that he wouldn't have been a good signing, and the reason wasn't because of ability. I had full faith that Benji Marshall could go over there. He could do a job. I wasn't sure how good of a job he'd be chucking him in a side like Hull, but I knew he'd at least be a good player. It was more the money that he was after to go overseas. Now, going to the Roosters is a whole different circumstance to that. It's a whole different situation. The Roosters, I feel like, are pretty much a star halfback away from winning a premiership. They're in their premiership window. This is different to going over the Super League. This is different to even signing with, say, the Cowboys, or even re-signing with the Tigers, Bulldogs, that sort of stuff. It's completely different. The Roosters are a gun side that just need a little bit of experience, a little bit of guidance in the halves. Luke Keary is obviously fantastic. Kyle Flanagan, I didn't think was that bad last year, but in saying that, just doesn't have that little bit of experience. And going from Cooper Cronk to Kyle Flanagan, I've talked about it quite adamantly, especially now he's a Bulldogs player. So I feel like I can give a proper opinion of this, and there's going to be no bias. But Kyle Flanagan is a decent NRL first grade player, but he's not a star player. And that's what the Roosters need, and that's what the Roosters demand in their halfback. So he's just not going to live up to the hype, or not live up to the hype, but live up to the expectation that Cooper Cronk set. But a player who can is Benji Marshall. Now, I think had it been Cooper Cronk straight to Benji Marshall, might have been a bit different. Maybe not so much, maybe not as good. Probably would have had a lot of pressure on him, and I don't know how they would have went. But the fact that they had Flanagan there, they had the youngster in there, they've had Lachlan Lamb in there, and if they went to Benji Marshall after that, I feel like Roosters fans would be rejoicing. I feel like the NRL would actually be quite happy with this one, because I feel like Benji deserves to go out a lot better than what he did. I mean, he spent the last year sort of in and out of first grade. He was kind of made the scapegoat at points throughout the season by Michael Maguire and the whole Tigers side. But we all know his quality. He had some good spells. We all know Benji's capable of doing it in attack. It's more so his defence. And his defence probably isn't really NRL first grade standard at this point. But you chuck him in that Roosters side with how good their defence is. Look, we won't talk about the back end of their season, but their defence has always been a bit of a strong suit of theirs, and I feel like he could jump in there and he'd do a decent job. He's got Joey Marnie outside of him if he was there. You've got all the big boppers for the Roosters. You got your Cordners and Angus Crichton, even though Cordner's being talked about being out for the first 12 weeks or so. I'll do a video about that, but we'll talk about Benji for now. But just the point is that I feel like they could cover him up. They could help him rather than in the Tiger side. He's got all these youngsters around him. We know the youngsters aren't necessarily the best defenders in the NRL. I mean, we used to look at the under-20s games, and they used to be 30, 40s every game. So it just shows you when you're young, defence isn't a strong suit of players. And if they are, they're generally the ones like your Victor Radleys, your Jake Trbojeviches, who become stars very, very, very quickly because their defence is very, very good. Plus, they got the attack too. But Benji, I think he would actually be a perfect fit for the Roosters. First off, salary cap wise, I don't think there's any other teams who are that interested in Benji. In terms of what he offers a club, he's probably got 1 or 2 years left in him. Probably one, let's be honest, probably one. And with the Roosters, they have a lot of players who have probably got 1 year left in them. You look at the Morris boys, even some of the forwards, your Hargraves and that, they're sort of getting onto the back end of their career. So you add in the Morris boys and that, they definitely want a premiership this season, and that's definitely what they're going to be trying to do. And I feel like there's a good window for them to do it. I mean, Penrith, they've probably going to have a bit of a confidence issue maybe. I don't want to say they're not going to be up there. I think they're definitely capable of winning the premiership. But losing the grand final and then having guys like Nathan Cleary and Isaiah Yeo and that have back-to-back big losses, like in terms of Origin and then the premiership as well, I feel like there might be a bit of a confidence dent in them. But at the same time, I can see them being up there. The Storm are always going to be up there with or without Cameron Smith. There's so many teams who can compete, but the Roosters, if they are able to land Benji Marshall, I mean, you look at the Roosters side without Benji Marshall, I think they're still capable of winning a comp, especially now the Hunger's going to be back after sort of getting embarrassed last season. They went out in straight sets, they made the top 4, like everyone thought they would, and I think, including myself, I thought the Roosters were the team to beat, and they definitely got beat. They got beat 2 weeks in a row. Raiders got them. Penrith obviously got them in the first week too. You add in that absolute thrashing by the Rabbitohs, and they got embarrassed in the back end of the season. They know it, everyone knows it, but we know that the Roosters won't stand for that. We know that they'll bounce back this year, and that's with or without Benji Marshall. Now, if they land Benji Marshall, that's absolutely fantastic. Like I was saying, money-wise, I don't think he'll be on much, so it's not a salary cap. We always talk about the Roosters and the salary cap situation, and all that sort of stuff. We can just beat a dead horse at this point in terms of them with their salary cap sombrero. I think everyone kind of knows. Roosters fans, if they don't know, they're kind of in denial, but I think everyone knows they're kind of playing the cap. They're playing the game, and they're just playing it better than everyone else, to be honest. But Benji Marshall would minimum wage, you would say. I mean, he has signed for it before. I think with the Broncos, he has been known to go to a club purely just so he can get some game times, I should say. So I wouldn't be surprised if he went to the Roosters just on the whim that they would win a premiership, because I feel like they've got a bloody damn good squad and a great chance of doing that, especially when you throw Benji Marshall into the mix. Look, we were just talking about before, his defense isn't great, but his attack is still there, and I feel like the defense around them is good enough to cover up for him. You add in his attack, that's lethal. We've seen Benji, he's still able to attack. He's still got the step, he's still got some speed, and he's still got a great kicking game. Game management's pretty good as well. You add in Luke Keary there, you got Tedesco at the back. Now you got another option in Benji as well in the halves, in terms of, Tedesco's out there, but if you rush off to Tedesco and all, Joey Martin and all that, Benji can just step you and go straight for himself. He's got enough pace to get through. I feel like not only is it a good move for the Roosters, but it's a good move for Benji. I feel like he would fit in well with this side. And I think it'd just be a great way for him to end his career if they could win a premiership. Also, I feel like it'd make the Roosters a little bit more likeable. You got the Morris boys there, you've got Benji. I feel like they've just become infinitely more likeable. Victor Radley there as well. There were so many years where you're like, Roosters. But now, if they won a comp, I wouldn't really hate it if Benji was there. But yeah, just like I said, it would be so fitting for Benji Marshall to go out with a premiership. And if he is going to play on, and if he is going to take a small contract, why not take it at one of the better clubs like the Roosters? What's the point of him going to the team like the Bulldogs or whatever they're talking about? I mean, yes, he has to play with his brother at the Bulldogs. Maybe that's a bad example, but going to the Cowboys or something, they're not really going to challenge, and he's going to be there, and he's probably not going to get much more money than what he would at the Roosters, but he's going to have a way better experience, I should say, and just way better time. The only thing is, he is quite old. Injuries do happen. All it takes is a leg injury or something, and then he's gone. But at the same time, having Benji around the club, probably beneficial the same way as Cooper Cronk. I mean, they talk about the grand final, how he didn't really do much with the ball on that, but just him being on the field was so influential. Just being able to direct players around and do all that sort of stuff. Just do a lot of the talking and just give confidence in the players. I feel like Benji Marshall can do the same. Even if he's not producing his like 10 out of 10 performances, just the fact that he's on the field and they're playing with Benji Marshall. Probably a lot of these players grew up idolising Benji Marshall. Probably Joey Martin and that, a couple of the Kiwi boys. But they've probably played with Benji, idolised him, played against him, and they've seen him, and maybe even Luke Keary. It'd be great. You can learn so much off Benji Marshall, especially because when he started his career, he was all flashy, but towards the back end of his career, he's really learned how to manage a game. So I think that's perfect for the Roosters and perfect for the youngsters at the Roosters. Roosters got a lot of young halves, but no one who's really alright, this guy is a definite. They're talking about Sam Walker. Yeah, he probably is. I'm not going to disagree with everyone. He probably is. But in terms of the rest of them, your Lachlan Lambs and all that sort of stuff, they're guys that you can chuck in. Same with Kyle Flanagan there. You can chuck them in. They can do a job. They'll probably win a lot of games. But will they win you a premiership? Probably not at this point in their career. But Benji, he can guide them. He can teach them a whole lot. Teach them game management. All the stuff that are just so invaluable. Or so valuable, I should say. And I think he'd be a great signing for so many reasons. If there's any more that I've missed out on, leave in the comment section below, because I feel like I'm kind of rambling at this point. But Benji Marshall to the Roosters, I think it's got to happen. It's got to happen. Roosters would be crazy not to sign him, in my opinion, unless he's asking for 400, 500,000. Then at that point, I'd say no. But just in terms of the fact that they just let Flanagan go. There's got to be a reason for it. It had to be a reason. Anyways, that's where I'm going to wrap up this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Like I said, leave in the comment section below. What are your thoughts of the Benji Marshall signing? Will it happen? Won't it happen? Do you think it's a good signing? Do you think he should sign somewhere else? Do you think he should retire? Leave in the comment section below. But also, while you're leaving that comment, go ahead and smash that like button, as well as subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. It is very important that you do like and subscribe. Also, turn on the notification bell as well. That part is also important. Unless you be notified immediately that I've uploaded. Don't have to worry about whether I've uploaded or not. You just get a notification straight to your phone, click on it, there you go. You can watch the video, you can watch me talk about Benji straight away, or whoever I'm talking about at the time. But yeah, go ahead and do that. Also follow me on social media, it's on the screen right now. It's MrLuke on YT for the most part. My Facebook is just MrLuke, so go ahead and give me a like or a follow on that. But yeah, the rest of them, Snapchat, MrLuke on YT, all that sort of stuff. MrLuke on YT it is. Anyways, that's where I'm going to end this video. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Stay tuned on the channel for more rugby league content. I'm going to be doing plenty of it, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!